All right, I'd like to call to order today for our regular Pratt City Commission meeting for Monday, July. I did it again. July 21st of 2025. I'd like to remind the audience that this meeting is being recorded and/or taped. I'd like the clerk to note that all commissioners are present. Before we begin each meeting, we'd like to start with the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and tonight, Commissioner Myers will lead us in prayer.
If you bow with me, Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this city of Pratt and all those that live here and work here. We're grateful tonight for all those that are in this room that have come with interest to the city or concerns, and we ask that you'll help us be good listeners and be respectful for everybody here. Lord, we have to make decisions tonight, and we ask that you help us make decisions that are beneficial to all concerned and pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Before we begin each meeting, we do have to approve the agenda. Is there any changes, subtractions, additions that we need to do? Okay, with that being said, I would like to make a motion that we approve the agenda for Monday, July 21st of 2025. I don't know why I'm saying that. Second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda for Monday, July 21st of 2025. Any other discussions? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Agenda's approved for the night. All right. Next order of business is the minutes for July 7th of 2025 regular meeting. I'm assuming everyone has had a chance to look over them. Is there any additions that we need to do or anything? Any changes?
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of our regular meeting for July 7th of 2025 as presented. Any other discussions? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Minutes are approved. All right. To our first business is 6.1, the appointment of Joe Oler as Chief of Police. Regina Goff.
Thank you, Your Honor. So it is my honor to present to you Detective Captain Joe Oler, who will, after tonight, be known as the Chief of Police. So the city did an extensive application period, and we did first interviews and second interviews. There was a panel of interviewees. The first set of interviews, it was 2 department heads and myself who interviewed a total of 5 candidates. 6 candidates? We had 6 that were scheduled, and we interviewed 5. And so then the second round of interviews, we had 2 internal, 2 external candidates. And for the second set of interviews, we brought in Kingman's Chief of Police to sit on the panel to provide us some expert law enforcement administration voice. And surprisingly or not surprisingly, we ranked the candidates the same, all 4 of the interviewees. And so we all have a high level of confidence that Joe Oler will be an excellent Chief of Police for the city of Pratt, Kansas. And so tonight he gets to be sworn in by the city clerk, and I believe his wife is going to hold the Bible for him.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, let's do this.
I, Joseph Oler, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas
and ordinances of the City of Pratt,
and ordinances of the City of Pratt,
and faithfully discharge the duties of the Police Department.
and faithfully discharge the duties of the Police Department.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Come over.
Oh, yeah.
One more time. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All righty. Well, congratulations again, Chief Oler. We're happy to now take off that interim tag to give you the official title. So.
Thank
Alrighty, now moving on to business 6.2, discussion and the approval of the road closure for the Pratt High School Back to School block party on Friday, August 15th of 2025. Mr. David Swank, the athletic director.
Mayor, council, staff, thanks for the job you all do. It is, being administrator myself, it is just a lot sometimes, so we do appreciate you. Historically, Pratt High School's had a back-to-school bash on Zerger Field. Been a lot of fun the past few years. It can get very hot on the turf on a Friday night. So this year, we're hoping to have a block party at the Pratt Pool. We've worked with staff on that. And then also use the tennis courts for our kids that don't want to swim, play pickleball, do games like cornhole, etc. It also gives us a good place to grill hamburgers and hot dogs for our kids, provide some food from some donated people here in town. Here's our request. We're concerned about safety because we're going to have teenagers running back and forth across the road. So our request is to block off 3rd Street between Rochester and Haskell between about 6:45 and 9 p.m. We'll start setting up about 6, probably be out of there by 10. Because we're going to have kids just running back and forth, doing activities. Historically, we've had about 225 kids and about 20 faculty members present. I do understand, and we've talked about internally on our side, that is one of the primary ways ambulances get to the hospital, 3rd Street. And that can be pretty busy, and that's one of the reasons why I want to block it off. But I will say this, I know there's other ways to kind of work around, but we've also talked about, obviously, if emergency equipment shows up, or police, or an ambulance, and we're going to have faculty present, we could very quickly slide the barricade across, let them through, and they'd have to slow down for momentarily, but it wouldn't be a long period of time. But we appreciate your consideration. If you got any questions. David, questions?
Chief Hoffman, Chief Fuller, any concerns or?
Kind of discussed that this morning, didn't think of any concerns.
Okay.
I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
We discussed it at the department head meeting this morning.
Okay. Perfect. With that, any questions from up here? All right. With that being said, I'll make that motion that we approve the road closure for the Pratt High School Back to School block party on Friday, August 15, 2025 from 6:45 to 9 p.m. between Rochester and Haskell on 3rd Street, between Rochester and Haskell.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the road closure for the Pratt High School Back to School block party on Friday, August 15, 2025 from 6:45 to 9 p.m. on 3rd Street between Rochester and Haskell. Any other questions, discussions? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Moving on to business 6.3, discussion and approval of resolution 072125, allowing alcohol sales for the Liverpool Legends concert. Miss Tiffany Riley.
Hello again. I'm just coming to request for alcohol sales for the next concert. It actually feels like the next concert, because our next concert is Paramount at the end of August, and then we have Liverpool Legends coming at the end of September. And it's a Beatles tribute band. It was handpicked by George Harrison's sister. It's supposed to be a really great event. So they are coming, and we would like to once again do alcohol sales at the municipal building. This will be our 4th concert of the year. The 3rd that we would have alcohol, we did one that did not.
Well, I think you guys have done well with the concerts there. I mean, I know you've had. I think our last one that we sold alcohol was the Paramount, wasn't it, back in January? So,
Your Honor, I would also like to point out that the city attorney has opined and advised the commission before that when there are alcohol sales at the municipal building, we don't have to pass a resolution. However, out of respect for the concerns and some of the objections to the city selling alcohol, we do still bring that to you.
yes. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone like to make?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 072125, allowing alcohol sales for the Liverpool Legends concert.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve a resolution 072125, allowing alcohol sales for the Liverpool Legends concert. Any other discussions? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain.
Okay. And it is passed 4 to 0, I guess, and with one abstention. So, all right. Thank you. All right. The next one is business 6.4, discussion and/or approval of the library board appointment of Mr. Will Ponder. And Ms. Goff again.
Sure, we weren't sure if Mr. Killow was going to be here or not. So we received a letter from Mr. Killow that the library board has voted to recommend Mr. William Ponder to serve a 4-year term on the Pratt Library Board to begin July 16, 2025. Mr. Killow says Mr. Ponder has taken a vacancy left by the resignation of Griselda Castillo. Mr. Ponder's appointment was approved by the Pratt Library Board on July 16, 2025.
And I'll say I know Mr. Pond very well. He's, like I said, he is our teacher at Pratt High School, jobs after graduation teacher. So a great guy, which I think he would serve well on. So with this appointment, all I would need is the approval of the commissioners, and then I kind of just give the thumbs up. So Commissioner Hostetler, Commissioner Myers,
Yes.
Commissioner Siemens, Commissioner. All right, Mr. Ponder has my approval of being appointed to the library board. Okay, moving on now to discussion and/or approval of USD 382 School Resource Officer Memorandum of Understanding. Chief of Police Oler.
Yes, the police department has met with the school board in reference to continuing the school resource officer program. We met with the school board on 2 occasions. Sergeant Gimple and I did on the original one. There was some follow-up questions and concerns. Regina and I met with the school board and clarified, those conditions and concerns that we came to a MOU that we think was suitable for all parties involved, and we were presented with that. So we'd like that to be looked at and approved.
So I think it was during the budget workshop where there was some concerns raised about whether or not the city would fund that program all by itself. We believe in the program. We think it's an incredibly valuable program, but it benefits 382. And so I think that Doug, I think it came directly from you that you asked us to meet with Tony and to see if they would be willing to contribute towards that salary and benefit package, and they did.
I'll say, again, I with being a high school teacher, I see Sergeant Gimple a lot throughout the high school, and in my opinion, he does a great job with our students and everything. So I'll make that motion that we approve the USD 382 School Resource Officer Memorandum of Understanding.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the USD 382 School Resource Officer Memorandum of Understanding. Any other discussions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Moving on to 6.6, discussion and approval of funding request for asbestos removal. Mr. Huber.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Most of you got to tour the power plant this morning and seen what our concerns were about the asbestos. We went out, we were trying to do this in increments over years instead of all at one time. We would like to start in the oldest part of the power plant and work our way to the newest. So we budgeted $50,000 this year to have that done. We sent out quotes to 3 different companies, ISI Industry Service, ACM Removal, and Remediation Contractor. The remediation one did not respond to our quotes in time. So up front, we just told them, we said, hey, this is X amount of dollars we're going to spend. We want to know how much linear feet you'll be able to take off. So they each came out, visited the sites, and ISI, which we've had work done before there, they quoted us $50,000. They would do 2,000 linear feet. ACM removal would do 1,475 feet. So with that being said, I would like to request that ISI, Industry Service, get that job and be able to remove that 2,000 linear feet with your approval.
Okay.
So,
So, just for some context, Jamie sent out requests for proposals last year to see how much it would cost to remove all of the asbestos in the power plant. And so I don't want you to be surprised. He's probably going to come back year after year because to remove all of it is $600,000, and that's to do it at one time. There's a lot of asbestos in that building, which you probably all saw today.
Yes.
and part of it I don't want removed, you know, I didn't want somebody to come in and remove it all at one time because of some of it would have to be replaced with something else because we are presently using one of our steam turbines in there. So, so doing it in increments like this, and then we get to a point in one of the years that we said, no, we're not, we need the funds somewhere else, we can do that, so.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we approve the funding request for asbestos removal for $50,000.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the funding request for the asbestos removal from ISI for a total of $50,000. Any other discussions? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right.
Get that
N-
in there.
Now on to 6.7, discussion and the approval of seeking the to replace generator 5. Mr. Jamie Huber again.
Okay, well, this one might take a little longer. So, in the past few years, you've heard me talk about Unit 5, which is our 1964 GE steam turbine. It's seen its day, it's come and gone. We are still babying it along. We found a report that it should have been mothballed in 2009, but we have continued to keep it operational. Last week, on Monday, we were gonna do our capacity test, and we had 3 different things that failed. And it's gotten to where every year it's something, and it's something different. So it was good timing, I guess. We still are trying to get parts in to get it operational for this year, and hopefully maybe for the next 2 years. But in this process, in the past year, we have been looking at different things to replace it. It's a 14 megawatt unit. We've looked at gas turbines. We've looked at diesels. We've visited sites in different cities. And so we kind of came up with this, and I kind of have an outline. I know you've all have seen it, and I'll just start going down it and explain to you. And if you have any questions, stop me in the middle of it, because of why I believe we need to replace this unit. So, like I said before, it's the age of the unit. It's a 1964, 14 megawatts. Number one on my list is safety of it. Most of you all got to tour the plant this morning and see how it kind of operational works. There's a lot of gas involved, a lot of heat, and a lot of aging pipes, different things like that. Safety is the biggest thing. Unreliable. It hasn't been reliable. Cost of parts for it is getting very expensive because most parts will have to be handmade, or not handmade, but made just for that. GE will make a part if you got the money for it. So, other thing is just the obsolete equipment. It takes so much stuff to make this one turbine operate. There's boilers, pipes, cooling towers, controls. One of our biggest issues is the knowledge to run it. So, when Brian left us, he kind of left us. So, Brian? So he had a lot of knowledge. I've got guys that do, but
Yeah.
it's getting to a point where the knowledge to actually be able to run it, hear it, and understand what's going on is fading away. So when I was asking Evan's in the audience too, so he's the superintendent down there at the power plant. When he started, there was 15 employees that ran that whole area. Now we're down to 9. So, and it's not by choice, it's just, we just can't get nobody to come down there and work, so. And that was my next one, was manpower. Insurance cost on it is just astronomical. So if we go another direction, I'm not saying it'll be cheaper, but it can't be any more than what we're already paying. Just the insurance on the building alone is ridiculous, so. We have an overhaul that's coming up on it. The last one was, we started it in 2014. I think it got finished in 2015. And we're looking at that, and that's mandated by Chubb Insurance, so. And then we showed you some pictures of the last time when they pulled that thing apart and they start finding this wrong and that wrong. The cost of it will add up pretty quick. So I think we were about $1.5 million on the last overhaul. The next one on the list was high maintenance. That thing is astronomical for maintenance. Uses a lot of water and a lot of chemicals. So that would be another cost saving if we didn't have to do this. And there's really not a whole lot of inventory of extra parts. We have gaskets and things like that, but it never fails at what breaks or fails. We don't have it. So that's why I believe we need to mothball this at this time. So I can't just go over tomorrow and shut it off. This has to be lingered out, because it goes into the next thing is capacity. So if on my list here, after we have Unit 5, and if we don't have it at all, we run into an issue of capacity shortage, emergency power shortage, which we wouldn't be able to supply the city. The 2 dual fuels that we have that are across the street will run the city in the winter time, but not during the summertime. Our load doubles, almost triples sometimes. So, and that's where it would come in. So we wouldn't have it in play. Routine maintenance on our substation can be interrupted. So, as I was showing some of you today, the substation, if that transformer goes down or we have to do work on it, we have to generate. And without it, really, at the time of year, we would not be able to do those maintenance things. So, that's another big issue with it. The cost of power will go up without us having something in play, and because we have a shortage of capacity. The runtime on the other dual fuels will go up also. So having something else in play, we wouldn't have to run them as much as we are. They're pretty tough to get parts for them right now, so we do a lot of maintenance on them also just to keep them up and going. So we don't want them failing just because we've overran them. So with all that being said, and it all leads up to, we need to put new generation into our system. The last 2 generators, one was put in 94 and the other one was in 2004. That's the last generation other than our solar farm.
And those are the diesels, correct?
Those are the dual fuels.
Yeah,
They're
the dual fuel
and
ones,
gas,
yeah.
yep. So that's been the last time. And we've been thinking we needed a 12 to 15 range of megawatt units. So we looked into putting in Wartzilla's, they're an all gas engine, and we toured, and Brian was here when we did it. We toured Nebraska and went down to Blackwell, Oklahoma, toured their plants. Thought that might be the way we would go, and it really wasn't. Didn't turn out that way. The cost was a little more than these Cat diesels are. We were going to have to house them. We were going to have to put them in our building and or extend our building or build a whole new one for them. So the cost just kind of kept going up and up. I was worried a lot about the curtailment, gas curtailment in 2021 when we had Uri storm, Storm Uri. We got gas curtailed, so we couldn't run them, but we could run diesels. They don't get curtailed, so that kind of shied us away. In the past year or 2 years, we have seen a lot of the cities in this state switching over to these diesel 3 megawatt units, and I wasn't completely convinced at first. but there's, I believe 20 to 30 of them going in right now across the state. So this isn't some new technology. It's been proven, but they are all diesels. And for us to put in a system that would be equivalent to that steam turbine, we're looking at putting in 5 3 megawatt units. And there's pros and cons to all that, but the cons outweigh, so. And on the list for that, we kind of lean toward the Caterpillars. And I've already mentioned this, Caterpillar has a proven track record. Diesels don't get curtailed. 15 megawatt will allow us for growth. That's cutting it pretty close, but we'll have a little bit of growth, and then this city is growing. I mean, we can see it. I know that our load over the last several years leveled out, and then it dropped, and then it's gradually starting to come back. We're seeing that. I think it's due to everybody went to LED lighting and high efficiency stuff, and everybody's gotten caught up, but our load was actually growing. But we're gonna run into this issue. So 15 is kind of the number. 95% of the parts can be overnighted to us if we needed them. These cats are made in the United States, in Indiana, and then they ship them to Texas to put a tank under them, and then they send them to wherever they need to be. They are not required to be put into the market because they're under the 10 megawatt unit each, so that's a plus for us. We can operate them when we want to, and we don't have to be told when and where. So we can run one at a time or all of them. So as they cycle, we could run and try to keep the hours on all of them the same. The only downfall is CAT right now is holding 3 for us. We have till the end of August to sign a letter of content if we want to move forward with this. They have 3 of them, and 2 would have to trickle in the next couple years when they get built. So if we don't jump on it, basically they have another city that's lined up that is going to take them. So I'm not trying to put you guys under no pressure or nothing, but that's not even where I was going. But I've got the numbers. You've seen what the cost is. This total project, we're looking at $20 million. That's getting them installed. My line department helping putting underground in and conduits and wiring and helping with them. The Caterpillar itself are just over $14 million. I would like to proceed with looking into having Gilmore and Bell, Kevin Callan getting us some numbers for a bond if we were to do a utility revenue bond is what I'm after. Biggest thing was how we were going to pay for this. Well, next April, our GRDA, it's the Grand River Dam Authority, PPA that we have, the 6 megawatt piece, will expire in that month, and we've had TIER working a lot of overtime on this, getting us numbers what we need. Literally this morning they came back and said, here's the numbers. We thought, Evan and I kind of had an idea of what would play out if we got rid, when this expires, buying all our energy off the market and being able to cover the cost of these units. And it comes back to absolutely that number. So there wouldn't need to be a rate increase for this. It would be strictly based off of that expiring in April. So that's the good thing. And most of these bonds are 20 million. We might actually ask him for a 20, 25, and 30 and see how that looks.
Okay.
And compare those numbers. So that is only up to if you guys agree to move forward with this. If we don't move forward with this, we'll just have to rethink this whole program. So.
And when you say 20, 25, and 30, you mean a payback period of 20 years, 25 years?
Yes,
or
how
30
long the
years?
bond would be for those many years.
Okay.
so that's kind of my spiel in a nutshell. There's a lot to this. And I know that some of you got to, Gary, I wish you could have came out and seen it, but there's a lot there. And we think potentially this is the best thing for the city at the moment, so.
Gina, any thoughts on all this?
Yes. So, well, from one thing is when Jamie says that CAT is holding 3 units for us, we didn't order those units. They were ordered by a different municipality, and that order was canceled. And so they have the units, which is unusual for them to be available. So that's why it's advantageous for us. The other thing is that while our substation is having its redundancy built, the same company that is building that redundant substation is also able to install these CAT units, which would allow a streamlined efficiency, because the same company would know, because those units are going to have to be attached to the substation.
Right.
So there is a lot of efficiency in the institutional knowledge of hooking those up. Bob Moyer with TIER did the cost analysis and we sent it to you today. Jamie, Brian, Evan, and I met with them several months ago, and this is not a knee-jerk reaction. We've been working on this plan since before I became city manager.
it's
You
been a
guys
long
have been
time.
working on the knowledge that we are going to have to improve and update our electric generation. So some of the cost savings of having these CAT units, first of all, if we have a blackout and we need to run the units, if we buy a Wardzilla, we're gonna have to run all 9 megawatts. Whereas if we have the CAT units, we can choose to fire up 2 or 1 or 4. You know, like Jamie said, we can do 1 or 5. And so there is some cost savings in that efficiency. Also, there's cost savings in, because the steam unit requires so much intense hands-on work, we would be able to, through attrition, have 2 fewer less employees at the power plant. And if you remember, our Chubb insurance policy is more than 1/3 of our entire insurance policy. So I think that our Chubb insurance policy in 2024 was like $300,000, and our entire insurance policy was $1 million. And so by taking out the steam unit, we will be saving tens of thousands of dollars a year on that property catastrophic insurance. Also, the only other point of clarification is that the utility bond that would pay for the upfront costs and then would be paid back over time, that utility bond is not attached to tax dollars, it's attached to electric revenue. And so it's not treated as a tax dollar, it's treated more as a utility. So it doesn't require a vote. It is attached to the electric the income that's generated from the electricity.
Well, Jamie, at first I thought you did a great job presenting everything here, and of course giving me and Monty and whoever else showed up at that tour and stuff, throughout the day. For me personally, I think everyone realizes we have an aging infrastructure, and I know we're not the only ones, here throughout the entire state. But as Gina pointed out in that article, that Destination Pratt, electricity, water, streets. I mean, we have an aging infrastructure, and the biggest thing is it's either we say we invest now, or we say kick the can down the road and let the next generation figure it out. It just kind of depends what everyone else thinks, but I think we should really consider on investing into something like this. So, Monty, I'll just kind of go around the table and stuff. But Monty, your thoughts on all this?
At this point, I'm convinced we need to do something. We're relying on an unreliable generator, and the parts not being available, that's a terrible situation to be in. So I want some clarification of what we are exactly approving tonight. I think we definitely need to get the bond numbers to know what interest rate, what the payments would be, how we would service that debt, along with the cost savings that you've went through, laid out. And so you know, we shouldn't have to raise rates, but it would be good to know we won't have to instead of we shouldn't. And I think the numbers are available. It's just until we know specifically the debt service, we don't know how difficult it will be to afford it. But I think we should definitely move forward with the intention that that's where we're gonna end up.
And Jamie and I talked about having Kevin come tonight, but he felt like it was, and I agree with him, he felt like it was really important to make sure that you guys were educated fully on the situation before we brought bond counsel in here to push documents at you.
Right.
So I spoke to Kevin on the phone today, and he is able to come to the next commission meeting and provide you a clear roadmap for how that would look.
And that's all we were after, was to get your approval to move forward with him, and then we'll see the numbers, and then we'll go do that next step, so.
Doug?
Well, it's time. It's, you hate to see a 60-year-old piece of equipment mothballed, but then you don't. I mean, it's a testament to what your men have done for all these years to keep that piece of equipment running. It's not safe, and it's nickel and diming us to death, and it's gonna continue to get worse. I think we got a lot of little details to work out, but I think for the intent tonight is, you know, I'm all in favor of moving forward, and then start accumulating information about a bond and how we're physically gonna do all this. But I like the idea of the CAT generators. I got online, and there's a handful of cities already in this end of Kansas that have done the same thing. And their reasons were exactly the same thing that you demonstrated tonight. So, you know, we've milked that piece of equipment for as long as we can, and I think it's a testament of good work for your men. But we have to move forward, and I agree with Mayor Farmer, that if we don't do something now, the next commission's gonna say, why'd those guys wait another 5 years or 10 years? I don't think we can wait any longer. So I'm all in favor of moving forward.
I totally agree with what both of them they said.
Gary?
Yeah, I agree with that, but when you say you're gonna mothball that big unit, does that mean we're gonna remove it from the power plant?
At this moment, we wouldn't remove it. I don't know if that'll be in my lifetime, but we have those three, there's 2 other units in there that are.
Yeah.
And we will look at that when that time comes. We'll get all the asbestos out of there, and then we may look at having it all removed and literally just scrapped. There's a lot of steel in those, a lot of
That was
materials.
gonna be my next question, what
Yep.
could that be worth?
I don't have a number, couldn't guess that, but I would say quite a bit, so.
But the problem is, Gary, is that those units are packed full of asbestos wrapped piping, huge amounts of asbestos. So any value in the steel and copper and metals would have to be subtracted from the asbestos removal cost.
Yeah, so,
But that, we could pass that cost on to the buyer.
yeah.
I think Jamie's tried before, haven't you?
Yeah, we had a company come in, and they said, well, we'll take that if we do this, and they wanted us, end up turning around and wanted us to pay them, so, yeah, I'm like, no, we're not doing that, so. So eventually, it'll be just like a museum. And I hate to say that, but we've gone into other cities and other power plants, and you open their doors, and that's what it looks like. They've just left them, and they're sitting there, and you could walk down those big, long hallways of just old turbines that are not spinning, haven't spun in years, so. I don't wanna see it. We still utilize the north part of the building. That's where all our breakers and all our wires come into, and how we get out to the substations, that will always be there. I don't know in my lifetime if I'd ever see that changed. Somebody may wanna change it, but you're talking a lot more money involved with that part of it, other than just the generators, so. We can keep that up going, we'll be doing good, so.
Yeah, and I mean, and you providing us a detail of what these caterpillars will look like. I mean, like you said today, it's like a semi-trailer. I mean,
What it kinda
not
looks
literally,
like,
but I
yeah,
mean, it gives
yeah.
you that perspective.
Sure. So they set them down, they put the containers over it, and then, that's it. So they have doors on all the sides so they can maintain them.
So I think tonight, if you, with the consensus of the commissioners, we will ask Kevin to come and present what that utility bond will look like. And then also in the next commission packet, we can put that voluminous cost analysis that Tier put together, so that you can study it, you know, before the next commission meeting and have any questions answered.
So so if we approve anything, does that at least tell Caterpillar that, hey, we're interested, so not to move on past, like, I know they have to.
We have till the end of August. August 31st is their deadline.
Okay.
They have somebody else that's interested, so, we'll get with Kevin first, present the numbers.
Okay.
And hopefully, let's say that second week in August, we'll have something that maybe we can sign a letter of content, or intent to move forward with it. But I want you all to be aware and approve it and be, you know.
I couldn't quite understand everything you were saying, cause I couldn't quite hear you, but how many units are we talking about?
5, there'll be 5, and they're 3 megawatt each.
But there's only 3 available now?
Yes, there's 3 available now. They were gonna be purchased by somebody else, and then they backed out. So they have these 3 that they could be shipped in March to May of next year. And then the other 2, if we move forward, would be late 27 to end of 28, somewhere in there. So that's what we're shooting for. So, and that doesn't bother me either to have them staggered out like that, not one bit. So I do have one number that I'm waiting on. That was from Tran Trucking to come in and help use their cranes to lift them on their spots. So they were still working something out. They gave me a rough idea Thursday, and I said, that's doable. We'll just get an actual number from them.
So Gary, one of the reasons why we're looking at 5 3-megawatt CAT units, that's 15 megawatts, is because in 2026, our purchase power agreement with the Grand River Dam Authority expires. And that was a 25-year contract, and we don't want to enter into another 25-year contract because right now we're overpaying for that purchase power. If you enter into that length of a contract, you don't know where you're going to be. And so losing the GRDA, 6 megawatts? 6 megawatts with the GRDA, and then losing 14 megawatts with the steam unit, we're talking about replacing it with 15 megawatts.
I understood that. I just was not quite following. I couldn't.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing with the GRDA, which is something to think about, and we average about $2 million worth of purchase power a year on that. And so figure that over 25 years. So that's $50 million that we spent on something that we don't have anything to show. So that's why I think going with something like this, at the end of it, yes, you have something. So
Good job.
Yeah. So you need a motion for tonight, right, Gene? Or do you want us to kind of just say you have the commission consensus to move forward?
To continue to
Yeah, okay.
pursue this avenue.
Okay.
And you're not committing to anything
Right.
tonight, except that you're giving us authority to move in that direction.
I'll kind of just go around, I guess. So Commissioner Hahn, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'm a yes, so let's move forward.
thank you, Your Honor. We
Thank-
will.
All right, perfect. All right, moving on to our last business for this evening, discussion and approval of the Land Bank Board appointments. Commissioner Hostetler, this is yours.
Our next step in making the land bank viable and useful, we passed the ordinance establishing it. Next, we need to have trustees for that, and we decided that we needed 5, and we have 5 applications. 2, we don't actually have applications, but Gary and I expressed interest in being trustees. And the other people are Brian Moore, Terry Williamson, and Clay Holcomb, which their applications are in your packet. And so I would like to see the 5 people approved as trustees.
Okay. Cody?
I would just add that we also included in that ordinance a staggered term set up to where 2 members will have a 1-year term, 2 members will have a 2-year term, and 1 member will have a 3-year term. So that's one thing. In selecting the members, I would recommend going ahead and determining what each one of those members' terms would be. That way we achieve that staggered term setup.
So you said again, 2 members with 2-year terms, 2 members with 1-year terms?
Yeah, two with 1, 2 with 2, and then one with a 3-year term.
Okay.
So Gary, do you have a preference on how long your term is? Would you wanna go with the 1 year? And then I thought, Brian Moore and Terry Williamson with 2 years, and then Clay Holcomb and myself for 3 years. Is how I
I
thought
think
would
that
work
Cody
best.
said 2 for 1, 2 for 2, and only 1 for 3. Is that right?
Yep, that's how the ordinance reads.
Okay. So 2 and 1. So Terry. So you want Terry and Brian for 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay. And then who would be our other member for the 1 year? Gary, do you want to do the 1 year or?
That's fine, I don't care.
Okay. And then who do you probably?
I'm willing to do 3, but if
Okay.
you wanna do,
Yeah, we can put you on the 3-year one.
Sounds good.
And there's nothing to prevent, one of the 1 years from then being reappointed.
Yeah.
At which time, if they're reappointing it, they'll
Yeah.
have a 3-year term.
They'll have a 3-year term after that. This
Yeah.
is just staggering it out
Just the
for
initial. Exactly.
for the start of this board.
Yep.
So, okay. Cody, do we need to do these as individuals, I'm assuming, or can we make a motion saying I'd like to appoint Terry and Brian to 2-year terms, and then Gary and Clay for the 1-year terms, and then Monty for the 3-year term?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I've said before, if everyone's kind of in consensus with moving forward with all of those appointees with those specific initial term limits, it could be one motion. but-
Just one motion?
Mhm.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're following all the
Sure, yeah.
guidelines and all that,
The
so.
the only time it gets into an issue is, if someone wants to, not vote on a particular person or vote against it, then we need to break that out separately so the record reflects that.
Okay. I'm assuming, well, so since we have 2 commissioners, do you think we should do those separately then, or?
Well, I mean, they could vote for appointing themselves. There's no financial interest or anything like that.
Okay.
It's not a conflict.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Well, then I will make a motion that we approve the following members to the Land Bank Board. Brian Moore, sorry, I just have to go through the, Clay Holcomb, Gary Schmidt, Monty Hostetler, and Terry Williamson.
Do you need to do terms for them, or?
No, do I need to make?
Yeah, I'd include the term
Okay,
limits for
so
each one.
let me rescind that motion, Bree, and I'll redo this. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve Terry Williamson and Brian Moore to 2-year terms, Gary Schmidt and Clay Holcomb to 1-year term, and then Monty Hostetler to a 3-year term.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve of Terry Williamson and Brian Moore to a 2-year term, Gary Schmidt and Clay Holcomb for a 1-year term, and Monty Hostetler to a 3-year term. Any other discussions? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. All righty. Okay, now on to open public comment. City matters only, 3-minute time limit. The public is allowed to speak on issues or items not scheduled for discussion on the agenda. Comments should be limited to the issues and items germane to the business of the governing body. The commission will not discuss or debate these items, nor will the commission make decisions on items presented during this time. Members of the public will be limited to 3 minutes for comments. Anyone? All right, with that being said, we'll move on to reports. City Manager, Regina Goff.
Thanks. I have something exciting to show you. So I think you remember about a year ago, I hired a part-time employee who used to be a curator at a museum in San Francisco to begin to go through our municipal court documents. So our municipal building and our historical city documents. So our municipal building, for years, had just been a repository for junk. Any records without a retention schedule followed, all records, including recreation teams from the 1980s, had just kind of been piled and piled and piled. And so we had precious documents in the municipal building, but you couldn't find them through all of the clutter. We were hoarders as a city for many decades. And so I hired Deb to begin to create a retention schedule and discard these schedules and team rosters that were decades old, and to begin to hone in and find our precious documents. And so she's sorted them, she's documented them, cataloged them, and is scanning them. One of the reasons why this was necessary is because when we were doing, when we were setting up our KMUP account for our pool project and to deal with donor money and things like that, we kept being asked for our original city charter, and nobody knew where our original city charter was. Even employees who had been employees with the city for 35, 40 years had never seen our original city charter. And Deb found our original city charter this week. So the original city charter is handwritten in this script from
Wow.
1884.
Oh my gosh.
And so in this binder is not only the original city charter, but the original minutes of this first several meetings from the 1880s. And
That is
so,
awesome.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That is, so will we be donating that to the museum, you think, or?
That can go in your museum.
No, it's but it's ours.
So we have not made any determination
Right.
of what we're going to do with that yet.
And
But
she found that in the municipal, just in a box, or?
it was in the municipal building. It wasn't a safe, thankfully, but it was in a safe. Nobody knew that it was in this safe,
Wow.
because there's a vault.
Yeah.
And so when she had gone through a lot of the other documents and blueprints and boxes that were just stacked, and then got moved to the vault and began to find.
Wow.
So I'm
So
just so
is the
thankful.
handwriting pretty easy to read from?
It's not at all easy to
Okay,
read. It's
all right.
impossible. And I grew up learning how to write cursive, and this is even more challenging. So so that's a huge celebration.
That is awesome.
Oh, that's great.
So then Deb's been working, like I said, for almost a year. My intention is for one day, all of these documents that she's digitizing to eventually be made available to our public in a searchable way. But so right now we're just still in the process of sorting and categorizing and scanning. But eventually I hope to have these beautiful historical documents available to our public. So besides that, the last couple of weeks, obviously, we've worked intently on the chief of police application and interview process. I've been working with Jamie and Kevin Cowan on the electric generation issues. And last Friday, we did have a pool party for our employees, as some team building recreation. That was fun. Also, and I'm sure that Justin will give more details about that, but I've been on a few of the subcommittees on the Point Pavilion project. That has been an intensive amount of work the last couple of weeks, and a lot of discussions with engineers and architects. And I do want to thank Justin and Brad for last year I was heavily involved in the boots on the ground work for the pool party, and this year it seemed so strange. I didn't do very much of anything at all. In fact, they asked me, so when are we going to order the food for the pool party? And last year I was the one ordering the food for the pool party, so it was great. I really appreciated that. Our weekly department head meetings are going well, and all things, although we are busy, very busy, and they're all running smoothly.
Perfect, perfect. Any questions for Gina? All right, thank you, ma'am. Public Works, Mr. Rambat.
Thank you. The wastewater department, they got their maintenance crew out cleaning sewer mains into the afternoons, and then they let them take a break in the heat. But it's a pretty important deal that we try to do every year. Street department has replaced a couple of 12 by 12 concrete panels north of Skaggs. They're in Highway 54. Parks Department's still busy mowing, and removing dead trees or damaged trees. Pool seems to be operating pretty well. And, really it's kind of the dog days setting in, so, Jeff and I gotta get out and get a project put together here in the next week, but other than that, that's about all I have.
Perfect. Any questions for Russ? All right, perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, building inspector, Mr. Walker.
Thank you. I don't have any new business, just inspections, and that's about it. for
Just
me.
moving right along, huh? I
Staying busy.
did see they finally tore down that house right there on, what is that?
Across
Fifth?
from the library.
Yeah, across from the library.
Yep.
So, all right. Any questions for Robert? All right, perfect. All right, electrical department, Mr. Huber, any?
The only thing we got going on, we're gonna run unit 6 and 7 this week, do capacity test and operation test on 6, so, everything else is pretty much the same. Day-to-day operation, replacing some poles. For the units, you wanna mention tornadoes?
Sure. So Lola had a good idea. She brought it to Jamie, and Jamie looked into adding to our tornado siren capability with the flash floods that occurred in Texas. Could we add a different tone that could warn for flash floods? And so he did a great job looking into that. There's a company that can update our system to include that, and I sent an email to Tara today just asking what fund that would come out of. It's within my spending authority. It's $3,700. I think it's well worth it to provide that warning system to our citizens, but we're just working through that process. Is that good?
Perfect. Any other questions for Jamie? Okay. All right, rec department.
Thank you, sir. As Mr. Gina mentioned, we're going through point meetings. There's 5 different subcommittee groups, a construction group and a brainstorming group. So been a part of 7 different groups for the project for the last couple of weeks, trying to get the ball really moving on that. I want to thank everyone that's a part of those subcommittee groups that are volunteering their time to help us move that project forward. We're meeting 1 to 2 times a week with all those different subcommittees groups. We do have a What's the Point event that we're working on coming up for next month. We'll be putting something out about that here in the very near future. Just an event that's trying to get the public aware of exactly what we're doing with the Point project, filling out all those informational questions. As Russ said, the pool is going well. It's hot out there for them, but they're doing a good job. It's running smooth thanks to Russ and his crew. We did get some new tennis court benches all put together, 20 of them for the Walter Blake out there. There'll be 20 benches for the tennis courts out there for PCC, and then obviously whoever else is using the tennis courts. So those are a nice addition for that. Other than that, that's all I got.
Okay. Seems, and summer ball's all done with, right?
That's correct. Rec, baseball, softball ended at the end of the first week of July. The next step that we have, or next sport we have coming up, is PCC soccer starts at the track soccer complex August 1st. Their preseason practice, so we get a short little window, and then we're right back at it. So.
Oh, awesome. All right, any questions for Justin? All right, perfect. Thank you, sir. All right, police department, Chief Oler.
Thank you, sir. Today was the first day we hired an officer, Tim Gata. He came from Medicine Lodge with 2 years of experience. He was originally from Wisconsin with 18 years of law enforcement experience. Today was his first day with us. So we welcomed him, and he met all the administrative staff with the city. We'll try to get him introduced to the commissioners as we can. Dispatch director continues to work through all their policy development and training issues. Christina's done an excellent job with the staff, and we're seeing, it's nice to see dispatch kind of making that turn and get back on track. Mike Leclerc briefed me today that we had a quote come in of $8,200 for the backup server for dispatch at the EMS building. So, I think that and a computer purchase, I think, is all that's left for our backup center for 911 to get up and rolling. The police department and dispatch staff attended the Deck Kids Fair. Very successful. It was very hot, but it was very successful. Had a lot of kids. It was fun. We were outgunned by the fire department showing off their water cannon. We didn't quite have the equipment to compete with that kind of.
Hey, let me know next year, I will jack up something on the pool.
Right. I continue to work on the building remodel project up on North Main. I've got a high school student by the name of Caitlin Vega who's put in a lot of time and effort with me, created a 3D model of the building. So hopefully in the immediate future we'll be presenting the proposal and the request for that project to move forward. But we're getting very close. We just need some measurements and stuff, and she's working with Tim Rector today to try to get those details about office A is this dimension and building wall heights and all that stuff, but we're close.
Perfect.
Other than that, business as usual.
Any questions for Chief? All right, thank you, sir. All right, Chief Hoffman, Fire Department.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, we just had our normal day-to-day business. Like Chief Holder here mentioned, the kids fair, and they had a really good turnout for that. I was unable to make that, but we did have quite a few of our guys showed up for that and did that. We did last week during our training, we did have some of the dispatchers come down. We gave them a small tour of the department, kind of how we go through things and what they hear on our end as far as communication and whatnot for that as well. So this week we plan on doing some cleaning up around the station and doing the painting of the lines in the parking lot. So yep, normal day-to-day stuff.
Perfect. All right. Any questions for Chief? All right. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
City Attorney, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much to report tonight, mainly because I was on family vacation last week, so I was out last week. But playing catch up from that. I got some things I need to get out to staff and things this week, but I should have a decent amount of things to discuss with you at the next meeting.
Okay. Perfect. Any questions for Cody? All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Finance Department, Ms. Eastis.
I don't have anything.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Alita? All right. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. City Clerk, Ms. Garten.
Okay. I have just one thing to share. As we discussed at the budget workshops in June, my goal is to keep my budget flat for a few years while providing the same services. And my next target is to reduce my utility billing, postage, and material costs. I've identified paperless billing statements as an option. The postage alone on that is, for just your first bill, is over $30,000 for just the postage. So we mail out 3,900 and some odd statements, and only 314 people are signed up on our paperless email billings. It essentially is just an email that sends you a PDF file of the exact same document that you would receive by mail. So I am going to work on trying to increase the amount of people that are utilizing the paperless. I'm very aware that some people will prefer the paper, and that is perfectly fine and currently available to them, but I am suggesting that anyone that's willing and able to switch to paperless, please do so. My goal is to switch 1,000 customers to paperless by the end of the year, and that's a postage savings of $7,680. In addition to that, though, the materials for papers, envelope, printing them, we lease all of our equipment to facilitate all of this. So I have a folding machine, a postage machine, printers, all leased, and I'm reviewing all of my expenses, as you guys know, but this seems like a quick fix where I can maintain my budget at its current value and provide the same services, but save money to offset our rising costs. That's my plan. So that's all I have to share.
Okay. Any questions for Bree? All right.
So Bree did kind of an informal poll and asked some of the department heads, when you get your utility bill, do you even open it? And some of the department heads get a paper bill and don't even open it. And so I think that she convinced or strong-armed those department heads to switching to electronic billing. But so we might encourage the public to consider that. Do you even open your bill? Or does it go in the trash? Or, you know, so many, especially younger generations, prefer electronic communication anyway.
Yeah.
If it's gonna come to you in electronic form and you can just pull it over into an email folder, that would help. You would be providing a civic duty and reducing taxpayer costs.
I concur.
And just to elaborate too, there's some questions arose on if they receive the electronic statement. That is simply the receipt of the statement. It has nothing to do with the payment process, so they can continue to manage their payments however they see fit, in person, Dropbox, or our online
Right.
payment as well.
Perfect. All right, any other questions for Bree? All right. Okay, moving on to mayor reports. I have nothing. So, all right, Commissioner Hostetler.
This weekend, I sent an email to switch my bill to electronic, and it's just a matter of bringing it to my attention, and yeah, that's a good idea. So good luck with that.
Commissioner.
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Stevens.
I'd just like to mention that Saturday evening, the Philly Museum had a reception and everything for their artists. So they had artists from all across the state, and that place was packed. It was packed, and everybody was from somewhere else, which meant they had to probably spend the night here, eat here, do some things. But it was really, it was just kind of exciting to see, like I say, people from everywhere, and it was very well done. Then, sorry.
No.
But then Sunday afternoon, the B29 periodically has a Sunday afternoon movie on something. B29s mainly. And we went to that, which is always very interesting. But it was even more so because it included some of the islands in the Pacific, including Kwajalein, which Jerry was stationed on for a while. So it was kind of made it even more interesting to see that and hear it.
Awesome. Okay. Commissioner Schmidt?
I'd just like to ask a question to our audience. Was the sound any better tonight than it has been?
Yes.
Some are more than others. Yeah, that's what I felt like some of them were just as quiet as they always are. So I imagine that can be adjusted, can it, on each individual? Yeah.
Well, but Gary, you don't have your mic on you. You have to put your mic on you.
I can hear myself.
So everybody, make sure that your mics are attached to your clothing and that they're on, and that'll help.
That'll help.
Unless you want to talk to your neighbor and then switch it off momentarily.
Yes. Yes. All right. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn for this evening.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn for this evening. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.